Have you ever wondered who the Beatles were as people, what their music actually meant, and where they are today? Everybody knows who the Beatles are, but the stories of how they became who they are never told. I had to further investigate to feed my craving for more information on the group. I found my information through books I borrowed from my mom, the internet, and movies. Today I want to share what I have learned about the Beatles. There is a lot of information about the Beatles and what they have contributed to our pop culture. I would like to tell you a little bit more of who they are as individuals and the 3 most popular songs they wrote and the meaning behind each one and where they are today. First, let us look into who the Beatles are as individuals. First we have John Lennon. He was an English rock star and guitarist and songwriter who with Paul McCartney wrote most of the songs for the Beatles. In this picture you'll see this one right here is John Lennon with the glasses. Okay. John Lennon was the only with his parents for a short while. His mom died later in his life after he met her. She actually gave John Lennon to his aunt, and then when John Lennon met his mom later in life, and she died getting hit by a car. Sad. John Lennon's first group that he met in high school was called the Quarrymen and was formed in 1957. In 1960, the group the Quarrymen traveled to Hamburg, Germany, where they finally became the Beatles. Brian Cass heard the Quarrymen playing one night and told them that if they would change their name to Long John and the Silver Beatles, he would find them a drummer. John Lennon did not like the name because it made him sound like the fictional character Long John. Long John Silver. So he decided to change it to the Silver Beatles. While in Hamburg, Germany, they finally changed it to just the Beatles. Next we have Paul McCartney, who was the bass player and guitarist and songwriter, who with John Lennon also wrote most of the songs for the Beatles. This is Paul McCartney right here on the end. Paul McCartney was born in Liverpool on June 18th, 1942. When Paul was young, he would visit the Walker Art Gallery, and from there developed an interest in art. Next we have Ringo Starr, who was the drummer for the iconic group, the Beatles. Ringo is right here, beside John Lennon. Ringo was born Richard Starkey on July 7th, 1940. Before Ringo was in the Beatles, he was the drummer in a band called Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. Rory Storm encouraged Richard to enhance his career by legally changing his name to Ringo Starr. So he did. Ringo got picked up by the Beatles after they fired the drummer Pete Best. Next we have George Harrison, who was the lead guitarist for the Beatles. And he's on the end right here. George Harrison was born on February 24th, 1943 in Liverpool, England. George Harrison got the nickname the Quiet Beatle because of his introspective behavior. Now that we have looked at each member of the band, let's look at the 3 most popular songs that the Beatles created and the meanings behind each one. The Beatles had many hits, but according to the Rolling Stones top 10 Beatles hits, there are 3 in particular that are at the top. And on this, there's like a thing of their album covers, and here's another one. And this is like their most famous picture of them walking across Abbey Road, and that's their cover for the album Abbey Road. The Beatles had many hits, but according to the Rolling Stones top 10 hits, there are 3 in particular that are the most popular. The song A Day in Life is ranked as number 1. This song is the final track on the Beatles' 1967 album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The song was written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Lennon's lyrics came from contemporary news articles, while McCartney's lyrics were those from him reminiscing on his youth. The next song, which is ranked as number 2, is I Wanna Hold Your Hand. This song was written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney in October of 1963. Most would say that this song was the first to break in America and start the Beatlemania. The last song is Strawberry Fields Forever. It is ranked number 3. This song was inspired by John Lennon's memories of playing in the garden of a Salvation Army house down the street from his house, which was in Woolton. Strawberry Fields was released in February of 1967 as a double A-side single with Paul McCartney's Penny Lane. I have now explained to you who the members of the Beatles are and the top 3 songs that they created, as well as the meaning behind each song. That leaves us with where the Beatles are today. Where the Beatles are now in 2012, let us look at what Beatle members have already passed. First to die was John Lennon, who was shot and killed by Mark David Chapman on December 8, 1980 in New York City. Next was George Harrison, who was diagnosed with lung cancer in the late 1990s and died from the disease on November 29, 2001. As for the remaining Beatle members, which include Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, let us look at what they're doing today. Ringo Starr turned 70 on July 7, 2010 at Radio City Music Hall, topped with friends and family joining him. Today, Ringo is still releasing music at the age of 71. Paul McCartney is 69 and will turn 70 this year on June 18th. He is still touring and enjoying the fame of being a former Beatle and is very popular on his own. I have informed you of who the Beatles were, what their top 3 songs were, and the meaning behind each one, and where they are today. The Beatles were an iconic rock band that influenced our pop culture and still influence us today. According to Entertainment Weekly, the Beatles are young America's biggest cult band. Also, Mark Hoppus from the band Blink-182 says that the Beatles will always remain relevant because they are geniuses and heroes who changed the landscape of music forever. If you want to get to know the Beatles better, buy some of their albums and investigate them more thoroughly. Thank you.